Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another fantastic edition of Sit Back with Shaq. It's a Wednesday evening. It is the 12th of August 2020. As always, we do this every Wednesday evening, starting off at 8:30. Talk to some interesting personalities, celebrities, individuals, or even groups of individuals who've made headlines all over Sri Lanka. So we've got a fantastic show again lined up for you. And today we're going to be talking to a group of kids who've actually brought fame and repute to Sri Lanka, and of course declared the runners-up in the Schools World Debate Championship, which just took place a couple of days ago. We're going to have a chat with them and find out how the experience was, and of course at the same time congratulate them for bringing, like I said, repute to Sri Lanka in the debate world. We also have a legend in the music industry who has been around for a very, very long time. That's Damien Vikramathilaka. He's actually launched a brand new Sinhala song. We're going to feature that song right here on the show in the latter part of Sit Back with Shaq. So right about now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with our wonderful guest. You sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. We'll see you right after this. We live in a world that requires answers for complex problems. To understand the intricacy of details, we need fresh minds and individuals dedicated to answer the world's calling. At the Bristol Institute of Business Management, we are looking for more of the best minds, more free thinkers, and more problem solvers to gear them for that very call. Here's to those who want more from life, who want more from the things that actually matter. A whole new take, a whole new vision. To those who see much more in the little things, who want more from challenging the bigger things. To those who go for the goal. An arsenal of academics who strive for more. Here's to every one of them. And here's to more and more. A network of leaders who change more than the ordinary. This is much more than just an MBA. This is an MBA that will change the way you work. Welcome to the MBA from the University of the West of England.
Year after year, the World Schools Debating Championship gathers the best debaters from around the globe. This year's pandemic made that impossible, so we took it online. In this style of debate, there are two teams. The proposition team, which is in favor of the motion, and the opposition team, which is against it. Each side features 3 speakers giving 4 speeches. The first 2 speakers generally present constructive argumentation. The third primarily focuses on refutation, while the reply speaker summarizes the debate. For the prepared rounds, teams research the motions for weeks in advance. For the impromptu rounds, teams have only 1 hour to prepare after being told the motion.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sit Back with Shaq, coming to you live on the Pod Hub Facebook page. And of course, it's brought to you by the Bristol Institute of Business Management. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll give you all the details of the Bristol Institute of Business Management as we move on. Like I keep saying on the show, we have some very interesting personalities. We've had some fantastic personalities in the last couple of weeks. We're actually on season 2 of Sit Back with Shaq, and we still have wonderful individuals all lined up and make sure that we have a very interesting show. Now today we're obviously going to be talking to a group of superstars, as I would like to call them, as bringing repute to Sri Lanka, the runners-up in the World School Debate Championship. It is Team Sri Lanka. Well, firstly, congratulations guys, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, and we've got quite a few things that we need to basically speak to you about. Like I said, congratulations, a remarkable achievement, being runners-up, pitted against school students from about 66 other nationalities, is that right?
68.
68 other countries, yeah.
68 or 66?
68.
67.
67 other countries.
67 other countries. All right, excellent. Now, we're going to be basically, I mean, you guys decide, considering the fact that you are a debate team, I think you will decide who's going to answer. I'm not going to call out any names. So you decide who's going to basically come up with the answers. Firstly, talk us through the process of getting selected to represent Sri Lanka. What were the channels that you had to overcome to get to where you are right now? Or where obviously representing Sri Lanka, the challenges and the channels that you had to go through to where you are right now?
So, it's a bit of a lengthy answer because we all start from school level and we all represent different schools. And we perform in local tournaments, and there are quite a few local tournaments throughout the year. Out of those, our performances are all recorded by the Debate Council of Sri Lanka, which is the overarching body across Sri Lanka. Then we can either send a CV or we get called to the national pool to filter to hire many sportsmen in one pool and then you select team out of that. Similar process here. So we train with that entire pool for a couple of months. Then we have a selection process, and our performance at tournaments is considered as well as the performance in the pool as well as the selection. And finally, the team of 5 as well as 1 regular is selected out of that. So that's the entire process.
So you've been obviously preparing for the debate championship, the school debate championship for a while, before this whole COVID-19 sort of basically took everything by storm. But I presume you guys have been practicing live debating for most of your debating career, and the competition obviously was switched online because of the pandemic that the world was going through right now. In terms of that, what were the tweaks that you had to make to adapt to this new norm, so to say, and how difficult was the challenge to switch your thought process from live debating to actually debating on a computer screen?
So there are a few differences, not a lot. So like the initial debate strategy, the arguments you run and style all remain the same, but obviously slow. It's harder to get your point across on a computer screen because you don't catch every word like you might with like you don't see the speaker's face, so like the passion and like emotion you show probably comes more from your voice than before. And it's sometimes harder to see your opposition and formulate responses when bad connection might have you lagging a couple of seconds at missing level. But then obviously it just came down to practicing and running through the technicalities, and then it was just like any other tournament, more or less.
Did you guys have any issues with bad connection though?
Quite a few, yeah. Occasionally, so us included or other teams where some would just drop out of the Zoom call or you couldn't hear your opposition and then everyone's in a frenzy. But I think towards the main tournament, we might have had a couple of oppositions that had connection issues, but all the committee in the tournament would always stop the call. There was a specific protocol if something went wrong, and they made sure that it would never have to come to a situation where it would be like a 2-man team versus a 3-man team. So they always had proper protocol, but it was frustrating sometimes. In one round, there were a couple of connection issues and we were struggling, but we pulled through more often than not.
Yeah, I mean, I happened to see just the bits and pieces of the debate, and it was very interesting, as a matter of fact. And it was obviously a new norm in terms of trying to follow a debate online. But we'll get into that as we move on. But yeah, on the point that you were making earlier on, now obviously a form of effective debating is to remain calm and is to obviously have no facial expression so the opponent really can't any sort of punch holes into what you're planning on saying. But now what you did was an online debate situation where nor could you obviously have your hands talk for yourself, but your 100% concentration was on your face. Yet you need to keep calm, yet you need to make sure your facial expressions were, pretty sort of mundane, so to say. Were you conscious about that even more because of this online debate than you had live debates?
We are probably more conscious just because we could see ourselves on the screen,
Yeah.
and so we had to modulate our facial expression in a way that we have been aware of. Uh, but even in a normal debate, you probably do show some expression to your face to convey some emotion or passion. And so we did something similar in this format as well. In terms of keeping calm or like just not getting frustrated, it's a matter of practicing and training. So there will be a lot of times when either someone got flagged or the judge will stop us in the middle and say, hold on a minute, somebody dropped out the call. But we just need to get used to that, and so it's frustrating that being professional at all times is like one of the one of our key because one way which we strive to be a good team.
Okay, all right. Yeah, this is what online basic can do. You need to keep refreshing your screen also at the same time. Let's talk about the preparation for the championships, right? I know your coach is basically sitting right in front of you, and you're obviously staring at him. I can see all eyeballs going to him every time I ask a question. I think we should kick him out of the place where he is right now, so you guys can answer the question at your own will, right? But let's not get into that. But in terms of the preparation for the championship, how does a debate team prepare? And here's a good one for you. And I think the coach needs to be there. What is the role of a coach in a debate team? Don't look at him. Don't look at him. You guys can talk as you guys can talk as whatever you want. Don't look at him. He's not there. Just tell me. Let's talk about the
Uh,
preparation first. Talk about the preparation for a debate team, and then we move on to the coach.
so preparation can take several forms. One is obviously just doing a debate. So similar, think about a football team. Playing a football match would be 1 year of practicing, and so doing a debate would be 1 year of practicing for us. And through that we can hone our skills, practice a few things. But there are also specific exercises that we do in order to improve on certain aspects. So debates are judged on three categories: style, content, and strategy. And so we would have specific exercises to improve our style, specific exercises to improve the strategy that we employ in each debate. And content-wise, that was more like research and homework kind of thing. So it read up a lot, follow the contemporary issues, read the Economist, New York Times, for example, and be able to generate better and more arguments according to each topic. The role of a coach can differ according to what the coach wants. Uh, and in this particular case, our coach wanted us to be able to control whatever we could control in a debate. So we call it control the controllable, which is the work ethic that we have, where in a debate there are certain things outside of your control. Maybe the judge has a certain bias. Maybe you don't know something about the topic. Um, Things that you can't necessarily prepare for all the time 100%. But the things that you can control, you need to control to the best of your ability and perform to the best of your ability in those aspects. So that was the ethos that our coach had, and the way he tried to push it was through practice and training each of those aspects that we could control.
Did you guys have any mock debates with your coach, or did you always break into groups and have mock debates on your own?
We had mock debates with several different teams. So, coach, I think we had one debate. I can't remember, but usually the coach and the debaters don't spar against each other unless the coach wants us to be exposed to all the debaters, and the coach will form a team with some university debaters or something and debate us. But that doesn't happen very often. Usually we practice with other school teams, but since this year we were practicing online as well, we got the opportunity to practice with how many? Yeah, some 13 other national teams before the tournament as well. So we had mock debate, what we call spars, yes, spars, with yeah.
But now, each of you, like you said, each of you obviously have represented your school in debating competitions. How different or how similar was the judging process from the school's debating competition to the one at the World Championships?
I think the obviously the local circuit judges are like very good, but they have two very different. I think all judges in Pakistan have different styles. So like European circuit would be different to the Asian circuit. Speed center, like the kind of rankings they give you are much stricter in like an Asian circuit than it would otherwise. But I think in our local circuit, they tend to focus less on style and much more on the content that you bring out. So we're just focused a lot to like bring out as much content as we can, not necessarily focusing as much on how we present it. But in world schools, we have a newfound respect for the style category and how important that is, and they respect that too. But in terms of like experience, yeah, it's a different experience just to get. And then one of the things we got was doing spars with other teams and doing so much online debating. We got access to a lot of the international coaches, so we got to understand what they demanded of us, what they wanted, specific things, so we could cater our speeches more towards what they wanted.
Interesting. Um, Now, the championship itself, um, what was your initial reaction when you heard the final results?
I think it was a mixed bag according to each person. Um, I think more or less two things. One was a disappointment, of course, that we didn't win. Uh, but also, I think after the initial, like getting over it, after the first 2 minutes or so, I think we did a good performance in the finals. Canada was better,
Yep.
but we were satisfied with the performance that we ended up putting up. And if we could control what we could control, and if we could do the best we could, and we managed to get to literally the second best team in the entire world, that's something they could be satisfied with. So yeah, we aim for more, but this is the result that was to happen.
Now, I'm sure you must have sat down and had a post evaluation of your performance with your coach on exactly which is the right thing to do as to how your performance was and where your strong points were. But personally, where do you think you guys dropped the ball? Tough one, huh? Well, you need to basically be answering these tough questions.
Let's try the
So it's a tough question, and people who are sitting at the back are the ones who are forced in front to answer this question. That's how it works. Okay, so go on. So no, I mean it's a straightforward question. Clearly, it's personal evaluation. It's self-evaluation. Everybody sits down after every tournament, every championship, whatever it may be. Everybody sits down with the coach, and usually, the coach sort of goes through your processes as to what happened, where you think you could have done better, etc., etc. Sometimes the players or the individuals in the team do not necessarily agree. Sometimes, obviously, they do agree. But personally, guys, as a team together, where do you think you dropped the ball? Where do you think you could have actually, sort of secured those extra points against Canada?
So I think with debating, trying to hypothesize about what we could have said or what we could have done very specifically is always the bit of a stretch. It's very difficult to predict where debates would go and what specifically had you done differently would have changed the overall result. Because it's not sort of a measurable objective criteria, even though there are sort of guidelines in place. I think there's some variation of how decisions go, even though it's generally fairly objective. In terms of what generally we could have done to improve our performance, I think maybe one thing was control over the debate. So the idea is in a debate, two teams have equal speaking time, but there's also varying levels of relevance that each of the individual content is given. I think in that debate, maybe Canada get away with saying or assuming some things that didn't necessarily prove, but also like they push their content a lot more aggressively, which I think hurt us specifically in that way. But besides that, I don't think there's anything explicit that we could have really said that would have changed the result, or at least you know.
Very,
I guess one more thing would be explicit responses, and this is something we worked on quite hard. Like this is one area that our team was not necessarily the strongest at, where we would identify an argument that the opposition brought, and we would identify how to respond to it. But we were not necessarily explaining very explicitly what the response is, or how it broke down the opposition's argument. And we did this with varying degrees of success throughout the entire tournament. In the final, maybe we weren't as explicit or as clear with our responses as they could have or should have been. But like Chandra said, it was a good performance and we would be happy to reproduce with very slight modifications here and there. Canada was like very good, and so we just need to reach that standard and take it from there after that point.
no, but make no mistake, you obviously overcame 60 odd other countries to get right up there in the finals, right? Which is a fantastic achievement, considering the fact that English really isn't our first language in Sri Lanka either, and considering the fact that you guys obviously did such a great performance, and there you go, Sri Lanka named best ESL team as Canada wins. So there are so many accolades at the same time that you guys have bagged. So it is, like I said, a great performance by the team. Now, of course, let's just take a back step from the whole championship. It's now it's sunk in. The runners up, which of course we've got news interviews going away. You've got articles coming up. Great performance so far. But let's talk about personally, individual, as a debater. I don't know who's going to actually answer this question. As a debater, do you have a situation where your friends and families can't actually stand to be around you because you always have a reason for your choices?
I definitely think like parents and friends, if you're willing to make a point and you're really passionate about something, they do get a little bit tired of it. You're like, this is not one of your debates, take it somewhere else. But for the most part, I think we learn to, keep that in debating and just kind of separate the two because it can get a little bit overwhelming if people are not necessarily used to it. But yeah, you definitely hear it from friends and family sometimes.
Any of you guys considering moving into politics? It's a straightforward question.
Yeah.
Well, you certainly debate. You certainly had a better debate than what we actually see in the parliament. That's for sure, right? So that's what we basically wanted to find out because usually this is sort of a stepping stone getting into politics and so on and so forth. In terms of the debating culture in Sri Lanka, like I said, all of you represented your individual schools and picked as the best in your individual schools to represent Sri Lanka. What do you think that we maybe actually need to brush up to make sure this debating culture in our schools actually gets stronger than what it is right now?
I think as of now the culture is decent. I mean, it works in the sense that you have teams that are relatively active, people who do come back, but obviously can still expand a lot more. In the sense that debating, as of now, is still kind of centralized to community schools in Sri Lanka, for instance, and the Debaters Council is doing a lot to expand that reach, but financial constraints, for instance, limit the scope of the DC League from reaching out to say other districts, and that's obviously part of the agenda. Because more people means a bigger pool, more people interested, and when you reach out, that's more diverse viewpoints that you might not necessarily get from the same place. So obviously that will be in the cards for the near future.
Interesting, very interesting. Now we're basically getting into the tail end of the show, and this is the first time on the show that we've actually had so many guests at the same time on one screen. We've got 5 guests at the same time, which is great. Usually on the show, right at the end of the show, we've got something called the final 5. Okay, it's 5. Well, not necessarily uncomfortable questions, but it could be uncomfortable. But what we want you to do is basically come up with the most honest answer you can give. Don't worry, we're not going to put any one of you in trouble. Don't worry, we don't plan to lose our license either. But it's interesting. Basically, we just need to figure out how we're going to sort this out. But what I'll do is maybe you can just pick the question with the same question we're going to basically pose to possibly any 4 of you for every question. Okay, any 4 of you, just give us the answer, the first thing that comes in to your mind. Okay, it's the final 5, any 4 questions. Here is your first question. Let's take a look at this. Would you effectively debate for a topic that you are personally and passionately against?
Yes.
Yeah.
You would.
Yeah.
Okay, is that like some sort of ethos that you guys have to follow, irrespective of your personal
Yeah.
preference, that you will definitely debate for it? Well,
Yeah.
okay.
I can add a small thing here about the difference between Asian parliamentary style and, for example, American style university debating. In America, for example, you can say, I would trigger warning against something and opt not to debate. Uh, for example, it's a topic that makes it deeply uncomfortable, but we don't have any such rule in Sri Lanka or for that matter, the World Championships. So, given a topic, either you debate it or you choose to forfeit the round and lose the debate. And since it's in our interest to win every single debate, we always opt to debate. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, here we go. This is your second question. Debating is usually serious business, but does having a good sense of humor give you an edge with the judges?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
it's
does.
If it's
If
good,
it's
If
good,
it's good.
I'm sorry, I didn't get everybody to say the same thing at the same time.
if you actually make, if you actually nice to make a good joke, then it's but obviously the jokes then don't work, but if the entertainment is bad,
Okay,
then it's not effective. So obviously depends on the how good your sensitive is, and if it's good, then that definitely is a good thing because it actually helps appeal to the judges, makes you more unique than other.
interesting. All right, wonderful. Okay, here we go with the third question. If I am to ask each of you the same question, what is the one topic you will not debate about and why?
I don't think there's anything that I would necessarily.
I know that.
Really? Wow. That's wonderful to know. You guys will basically you throw a topic and you are ready to go for it, either for or against at the drop of a hat.
I think there's an expectation that a topic will be fairly balanced, or that is two sides to an issue if it's going to be given as a topic. So we are not going to be given a topic like you would kill a person, for example. We wouldn't be given those kind of topics because there's no two sides to the issue. So topics might be slightly biased towards one side or slightly biased against, but never is so biased that it's like impossible to debate at all.
Right.
And so we would be willing to debate in the first place.
Okay, that is so wonderful to note, guys. It really is. It's good to know. Okay, here's your fourth question. Do you think we need potential political leaders to debate in public before we decide to vote for them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Why?
I think because there is very clear information yet.
You need to talk up, my friend. I can't hear you because they've actually kept you right at the back.
Sorry, I think it was like a very clear gap in the minds of a lot of people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's because we don't have information about the actual policies that politicians plan to implement. So you end up voting based on who is the most charismatic or who is the most attractive to you as a politician, and that often completely ignores the actual policies that the people want. But also, I think it puts pressure on politicians to actually come up with effective solutions because their opponents will be constantly looking at what these like solutions look like or these policies look like. We are forced to adapt as politicians as well.
Excellent. Wonderful. All right. This is your final question. I don't know who's going to answer this. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And
The
please let us
chicken.
know why.
Debaters call it circular logic. But if I had to answer, the chicken.
Is it chicken?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. All right, guys, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Firstly, like I said, congratulations. Congratulations on the runners up being at the Schools World Debate Championship. No easy feat. And I know for a fact that I know lots of friends who obviously have been part of debate teams. Sometimes they can be really annoying to be around because they have they have a choice in everything that we have made. There's always a reason behind that, and sometimes it's very difficult to keep them away from it also. But then you need someone who sees every part of the pie to decide on exactly what to do or not, which is wonderful. But again, congratulations, well done. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I just have one final question before we do let you go. We're just one step away from actually winning the World Debate Championship. This is, of course, to the subsequent teams that actually take up your footsteps, so to say. If you guys were to give a piece of advice for the other youngsters who are hopefully going to be representing Sri Lanka, possibly in the next year or the year after, who are in school right now, what would you tell them?
Uh,
Nothing is not a good idea.
uh, I
What's the
mean, for
piece of
most
advice
people,
you would give?
yeah, I think for most people, there's sort of this irrational phobia of either speaking in public or being part of debating. I think a lot of this is unfounded and very reflective of cultural debating, inclusively try to be. And I think the best evidence, sorry, the best advice to give to anybody would be just try it out, join your school debating society, see whether you enjoy it. Because I think most people, even if they don't debate competitively, come out of that as better people, better experiences.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being a part of the show. Congratulations once again. Soak it all up because you've brought a lot of respect to the country, and this is something that everybody obviously knows. At the end of the day, now that we've got a schools World Debate Championship runners up with us, which is a big deal. Don't think it's a small deal. It's a big deal out there. And hopefully we will see you guys in huge positions, hopefully debating for whatever you actually are for or against in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No worries. Take care and have a good night. Speak to you guys soon. All right. There you go. That is the runners-up in the Schools World Debate Championship. Wonderful to have them on the show with us. A bunch of great kids, of course, and yeah, they had an answer for everything. Rightfully, that's exactly how a debate team should be. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, like I said, we've got a legend on the show who's going to be talking to us and going to be featuring his brand new single song right after this break. We'll speak to you soon.